Thank you, Madam.
Deputy Speaker, and I begin by thanking my honourable friend, the member for Wimbledon, for bringing forward this incredibly important debate. Anyone who has been paying attention to my contributions in this place will not be surprised that I am once again raising my deepest possible concerns about St Raphael's Hospice in my constituency. Their case is emblematic of the problems across this undervalued and dramatically important sector. One of my first visits after being elected as the MP in July was to St Raphael's Hospice, where I saw the incredible care that they offer residents in my constituency and beyond. I've met several times with them since then, including just this morning, and it's clear to me that whilst the Secretary of State's £100 million announcement is welcome, it does simply not go far enough. The funding is restricted to capital expenditure for actions like refurbishments and digital services. Whilst undoubtedly important to modernise and update the capability of our hospices, the funding does not address their immediate financial hardship, especially in the context of the Chancellor's budget. St Raphael's is set to face an estimated £140,000 increase in staff costs this coming year due to the rise in employer national insurance contributions. This burden only adds to the significant strain on the hospice, which is currently funded by the NHS for just 28% of its budget, and therefore reliant on the generosity of charitable donations for the remainder. If the government fails to see sense and exempt hospices from this hike, structural deficits will only continue to grow in the sector, pushing many over the cliff edge altogether and forcing those who remain open to cut their services to the bone. While the announcement for additional funding is appreciated, it does not address the root of the problem. Madam Deputy Speaker, the government's approach is dangerously akin to tackling a leaking roof with a mop and a bucket. The Secretary of State spoke last week about the need to shift the focus of healthcare from the hospital to the community, yet I fear their treatment of the hospice sector has done exactly the opposite. Due to the limited funding St Raphael's receives, the hospice has been forced to cut its hospice at home scheme, a vital service where staff directly attend to patients in their own homes in the local community. I think the government front bench agrees that the kind of community-based palliative care that they are hoping for with the hospital at home scheme, which is further being cut due to their actions. These sorts of issues show why they must bring forward a long-term funding arrangement for hospices if they intend to keep their promise. My Hospices and Healthcare report on funding bill, presented last year and due for a second reading in July, would set out ways for the government to consider those options to deliver a long-term funding deal. I sincerely hope, however, that by July the government will have listened and the bill won't need to be debated at all. So I urge the government, please make my bill completely redundant.